Nissan Leaf, the new Nissan Leaf is really coming back. We already know it's got a new look that is much less ugly at the very least. I think it looks pretty good. And most importantly, it looks like a regular Nissan. And I think that's the most important thing about electric cars moving forward. But also, the sales of the new Leaf are really coming back and really competing with and even beating some of kind of established competitors in all electric categories. So we're going to talk about that. Tesla owners are being screwed in Germany now. We're going to talk about that as well. And a comment of the day, of course. We're going to do it all coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world,
All right, thank you to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon. If you're here for the very first time on YouTube, well, welcome. If you want to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, you came to the right place. Just click on that subscribe button so you don't miss anything moving forward. All right, let's talk about Nissan Leaf. And you know, I've said it many times that I really like this car, especially because of what it used to be, which I believe was a really not good-looking car, and also the increased range to 150 miles, which I believe acceptable. I prefer over 200 miles to call it acceptable all-electric car, but this one is good enough, especially for Europe. Now, I do have to say that, like, if I was shopping for one right now, I would I would definitely wait until the 2019 version comes out, because that one is going to be even better. Not only because they're also going to have a 225-mile range option, but because the battery is going to be completely different. It's going to be an LG battery rather than what Nissan has right now. It's going to have a thermal management system, which a lot of people have been waiting for. So overall, it's just going to be a better car as far as technology inside. Still going to look the same on the outside, which once again I think is pretty cool. Now in China, it actually has the body of the Sentra, which I like even better, but that's just kind of a side note. So yeah, and by the way, so the sales are pretty good in Europe, right? And here in the United States, it looks like they're not making them enough of them, though I see commercials on television. That's like the only company that's putting out openly commercials of their all-electric car, which kudos to Nissan, of course. But here they only sold, I think, 6,000 units. And I'm not really sure if they're not making them enough. And why is it for the United States rather than Europe? But anyway, in Japan, they're definitely kicking butt. But then Europe, they've so far sold 18,000 of them this year so far. And they're saying total 37,000 people put in their orders. So they're about, what, a little under 20,000 still on the waiting list. And you know, this is pretty impressive. Don't forget Renault Zoe, a car that here in the United States we haven't heard of much because they don't sell it here in the United States, but the Renault Zoe is actually was in the last 3 years the most sold electric car in Europe. Well, now Nissan Leaf is taking over those numbers, and Nissan Leaf is becoming the number one in Europe, at least so far this year. Yeah, I mean, and don't forget, Nissan Leaf is just basically kind of the original gangster here in at least this generation of electric cars. It came out way before pretty much everybody else, even Tesla, really, as far as Tesla Model S is concerned. So yeah, I mean, kudos to them, and it's great to see them coming back. It was kind of sad to see them kind of dying a little bit, but yeah. But if you're in the market to get one, I would still wait for a few more months when they have 2019s with a extended range. First of all, a longer range option, but definitely with a much better technology from LG Cam. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Of course, I want to remind you that this show and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video, so have a good time saving money there. All right, let's move on to Germany. Now, as you probably know, in Ontario, I just covered the news where they ended up cutting the incentive, the rebate that they had there, which was pretty generous, 14,000 Canadian dollars, which is a little bit over 10,000 US dollars. One of the most generous rebates out there. They ended up cutting it completely out, but the people who already ordered and paid for their Model 3 and had them those cars were in transit, had that kind of taken away. So they realized that they're just about to pay 10,000 extra dollars in Canada for their car. So that's a problem because, you know, Tesla has been There's thousands of Model 3s are in transit. So that's a problem in Ontario. Now, here's another problem that, as you know, Tesla hasn't been getting along with German government. Obviously, it's it's the country where there are a lot of gas cars are produced and a lot of major power from their manufacturers that are still kind of slowly moving towards the electrification, BMW and Mercedes. But they at some point put a cap on the incentives, which is about 4,000 euros incentive of $60,000, which was coincidentally the same lowest price you can buy a Tesla Model S in Germany for. So then Tesla decided to kind of unpackage some of the options and still push it under 60,000. Then there was some report from a local reporter came out that Tesla is kind of doing bait and switch. Then they once again shut Tesla out of that. They disputed, and then they finally said, no, you're right. Now they're going with that, but I guess that wasn't over. I know it's a long story back and forth, but it's back and forth now, because apparently Tesla was supposed to come up with some sort of a solution for one of the challenges that they had with the system there, and I guess they didn't, and now German government is taking those 4,000 euro incentives back, and they're actually asking customers to pay it back. Tesla said that they will cover that, even though the manufacturers are only responsible for half of that. But it's definitely a continuous problem there, and I'm not really sure if it's really German government that's pushing it that hard, or it's Tesla not just wanting to comply or work with them. It's hard to tell, really. I kind of looked at different sources here, but that's definitely an issue. There's about 1,000 people, I think, caught into this little limbo of 4,000 euros. But hey, if Tesla's going to cover it, which is a great thing to do, and hopefully they can resolve it. But that's great. I like this part of that story. I'll keep my eye on it. I'll definitely let you know what happens. But I feel like this is going to go on and on and on for a while. All right, by the way, just want to remind you that this Saturday's interview is going to be exciting. Last Saturday I had a congressman on, but this Saturday it could be just as good, because I have Ryan McCaffrey that I interviewed within last week or so, and this is in the garage in San Francisco. That's where we ended up, because we couldn't find a place out where we were just hanging out, having dinner, because there was so much noise and copyrighted music I can have here on YouTube channel. So we ended up just kind of hanging out in the garage, because it was so quiet there and it was relatively good lighting, and pretty good interview. I wanted to interview him for a while, just in case if you somehow don't know. He is an unofficial Tesla podcast called Ride the Lightning. Check it out. It's kind of a weekly news. Very cool. I like that. Just really nice guy, and he's got one thing I know him for is because every other time Elon Musk replies to somebody on Twitter, a lot of times it's Ryan. You check it out. It's Ryan who originally wrote the message, and Elon, sees. He has a good explanation in the interview. I asked him, how is it like you're like BFFs with Elon now? And he has an interesting explanation why Elon replies to him pretty much more than anybody else. So check that out. That's coming out on Saturday. Also, before we go to the comment of the day, want to acknowledge one of the new Patreons, Mark Robinson, who just became a Patreon. Thank you so much, Mark. Had a nice conversation back and forth on my Patreon page. Definitely try to stay in touch with all of my Patreons, and of course, thank you so much for supporting the show. All right, let's move on to the comment of the day, and this one comes. The context of this is still the tweet by Elon Musk, the pedo guy comment. There's just a lot of backlash, I have to say, and this time around, it's not just people on the other side or people who are kind of in the middle. We're now talking about pretty loyal Elon Musk fans, and I think that's how you know this. He might have just stepped over the line. So this comment comes from AL591 is the username. He says, "Hey Alex, have you seen the latest Teslanomics post? I think you will like this one a lot." So I have to mention, I haven't been watching Ben's video lately, but I just kind of switched to watching other channels that I enjoy a little bit more. But nevertheless, I think a few people mentioned it, so I went over and watched his video. And I gotta say, so Teslanomics, and really most of the channels, except for 3 channels that are dedicated, YouTube channels dedicated to electric cars, are mainly Tesla fanboy channels. I can only think of mine, Nikki, and fully charged, and then I think Rich's channels that are, pretty independent, I would say. Everybody else is pretty much Tesla fanboy channels, which again, I'm not saying fanboy as a sort of a bad thing. These are dedicated fans, but a lot of times when Elon Musk does or say something, they're kind of jump onto defending him no matter what it is. And this time around it is different. It's like, for example, when Ben, who posted the video saying, holy crap, man, you should really get off Twitter for a while. This is not cool. And I've seen some others come out, and even the comments in the comment section for my videos, where a lot of times I get attacked by this Tesla fanboy saying I'm an Elon hater, which is not true. Can't stress that enough. A lot of people I've seen kind of going my way this time around, saying, yeah, I think Alex is right. It's he's really crossing a line here, and and I usually don't toot my own horn much, but I gotta tell you guys, this is why I do this show, is because I've been talking about this a while back, and I know people jump down my throat at first saying, well, Alex, you're Elon hater and everything, and I keep saying, guys, I am reporting the truth. I'm not for or against any brand or any person. I have only one goal here, is to promote the electric car movement. So whoever is trying to stop it or sidetrack it, I'm gonna call them out, even if it's from the inside, even if it's the leader of the movement, right? Who I think Elon Musk is. I know some of you disagree, but that's my opinion. So that's, yeah, I mean, I've been calling him out for a while, because I think his behavior is not only changed from a year ago even, but also really might be damaging his reputation, Tesla reputations, and our reputation as a community. So yeah, no, I see that a lot of people are kind of turning their opinion now and then telling him to chill, and I hope he gets the message. I really hope he gets the message. I think the right thing to do is, I've been saying it for months and months now, is either untie the hands of your PR department or hire a PR department, I don't even know if you have one, and let them do their jobs. There are plenty of professionals out there that can handle all these issues. Stop replying to those little haters here and there. You will never, you will never win those. And start doing your statements and your messages to the community through more conventional and probably better channels like TED Talks or press releases and maybe interviews and so forth. I would really love that if he would just kind of turn that around. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you so much for watching the show. See you tomorrow once again, and remember to stay charged.